Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. We're diving into one of my favorite things, double oak whiskey. That's right, tonight it's Peerless Double Oak Rye. Ho ho ho, I cannot wait. You know, if you've watched this channel, there's nothing more than Bourbon Bill likes than deep, dark, and delicious. Look at the color on this bad boy. It's nearly the same color as my shirt. Big shout out to my buddy Brantley. He was able to get this bottle for me. Without him, this review would not be possible. So thank you, sir. Well, if you watched my video review on the old Peerless Double Oak Bourbon, this bad boy right here, you'll know that I loved it a lot, and I've had to refrain myself from finishing this bottle. That's how good it was. So I'll link that above. I did a review like best double oak bourbons. Go ahead and you can watch that. I'll link that above. Yeah, so I didn't know that Peerless was doing a double oak rye until my advent calendar. And Brantley, same great gentleman, snuck in a sample of a single barrel Peerless double oak rye. And it was fantastic. One of the best things I had. Loved it. As soon as I tasted it, I was like, I need a bottle, you know. And finally was able to get one. So, quick side note here on Peerless and the double oak series. The bourbon came first. The bourbon was single barrel and distillery only up until probably last year. In 2022, they kind of made a batch product, which you saw right here. And it kind of went, I'm not going to say nationwide because Peerless isn't available in everywhere, but it went to most places that Peerless is available. PA, nah, you didn't see it. Even though PA does sell the Peerless bourbon and the rye, just the regular small batch, we don't sell anything else at Peerless. Go figure. The good stuff, we don't need the good stuff here in PA. If you're a PA viewer, you can get the double oak bourbon in New Jersey. I kind of saw it all over Maryland, Delaware, even places like that. So when they released that batch, it was available in those states. Now, they then came out with a single barrel double oak rye, which is what Brantley gave me a sample of, and that was also only available at the distillery. Now they've done a batch product, and it's getting ready, I think, for its wider release. I haven't heard that it's gone wider than the distillery yet. This particular bottle there did come from the distillery, but it is the batch version. It's not the single barrels. So I'm pretty sure they're ready to start rolling that out to a wider audience. So stay tuned to see if you really want to pick one up. If you love the bourbon, this could be right up your alley. Let's take a closer look at it before we dive into it. Beautiful bottle. I mean, these barrel shapes are, I love them. You know, they're fantastic. And a little wooden, hope you heard that, little wooden cork stopper there is I mean, the whole thing here, gorgeous presentation. This one comes in at 110 proof. Compute 55% alcohol by volume. So just a perfect proof, right? Like the other double oak bourbon, this is non-chill filtered, no water added, barrel proof, and sweet mash. Peerless also uses a lower barrel entry proof. That's why their stuff is so delicious, just like Wilderness Trail. And this is a rye whiskey, also twice barreled in new oak cask, which is why it is just dang dark looking. Oh, I can't wait. All right, we will compare it to the bourbon. As a refresher, the bourbon here was 109.1 proof. Compute 54.55% alcohol by volume. So, a little lighter if you don't want, 109. Alright, so first up is the rye. Look at the color on this bad boy. When I see a whiskey this color, we go A+. We don't have to smell it, don't have to taste it. We just know that it's going to be that good, right? Oh, I can't wait. So price on these bad boys. The double oak bourbon was about 80 to 90, depending on where you were in the wide release. In the distillery, they were like 130 to 150. So they're pretty expensive at the distillery, but in that wider release, they did come down in price. The rye, I don't know what it's going to be in the nationwide release. It's still at that 130, 150 price at the distillery. So it's expensive at the distillery, but just know the distillery charges more. It probably will be in that 80 to 90 range, maybe 100, when it releases to a wider audience. Let's give it a nosing. Oh, sweet heavens. Oh, that's delicious. A+ on the nose. A+++. Gosh, it is all rye spice, char, chocolate, cinnamon, and like a cherry note. I'll say red fruit, but it is like a chocolate, cinnamon, cherry, heavy char, and rye spice. Fantastic on the nose. Oh, man. It's a sweet nose, too, really. It's not... There's oak in here, but it is a fantastic nose. Let's take a sip. Oh, heaven help me. That's so good. Oh, man. Another hitter from Peerless. Really is. Wow. So it's all chocolate, cinnamon, oak. A lot of oak. It is sweet. It's like a sweet oak, chocolate, cinnamon. The rye spice is perfectly blended with this. I do get like a cherry note on this. I really do. I don't remember getting a cherry note on the bourbon. Let's take a second sip. Chef's kiss. So well done. A++. Immediate buy. If I see a second one of these on the shelf, without a doubt, backup worthy. We don't say that too often on this channel. Backup worthy here. This is right up my alley. So there's oak to this, but it's like a woody oak. This is not like a 15-year-old bourbon, well-seasoned, oak. It's not that kind of oak. It's like a woody oak, a lot of barrel char, cinnamon chocolate, and then just cherries with rye spice. That's what I get on this. Fantastic. This is kind of the neck pour. I imagine it's only going to get better. So I just got this today, but had to do a review because I couldn't wait to crack it. Okay, so how does that compare to the bourbon? You're a bourbon lover. Bourbon Bill here's a bourbon lover, first and foremost. So the bourbon, pretty dang dark. I think they're about the same color. I put these white labels on so you can tell, but I did this just to try to compare the color. I'm going to say they're pretty much identical in terms of color, both pretty dark. Let's give the bourbon a nosing here. Okay, so obviously we're missing the rye spice and we're missing like the cherries. On this bourbon is just far more cinnamon chocolate. Again, that woody oak. Not really getting the red fruit, so no cherry note and no rye spice obviously on this one. It's more like graham cracker. Maybe a little bit of s'mores note in there with the barrel char. Let's take a sip. Oh man, also A++. Everything I said is there. It's just char, oak, cinnamon chocolate. This one has a lot of baking spices that comes through. That wasn't on that one. Wow, that's good. Maybe a touch more cinnamon in this one. So, which one does Bourbon Bill like better? First off, both immediate buys. Immediate buys. I'm looking for a backup of the bourbon because mine's getting low. Do a little back-to-back here. Verdict tonight goes to the rye. By a hair. By a hair. If you like the bourbon and you dabble in ryes, you're going to like this quite a lot. If like a heavy char, heavy woody oak is not for you, neither one of these is going to be up your alley. Just sorry to say that. But if you kind of have a similar palate to what I do, the deeper and darker, the more delicious, then both of these are up your alley. But I will say both immediate buys, both A+++ pluses on Bourbon Bill's channel. Oh, and that Double Oak Rye is gonna be in the top 10 of 2023 for sure. So if you like what you saw tonight, gotcha. You didn't think I'd end it there, did you? What other Double Oak Rye have you been hearing great things about? You think is delicious? Dun dun dun, Sagamore Double Oak Rye. Personally, before that, my favorite double oak rye of all time, Sagamore Spirit Double Oak Rye. Should be your entry into rye if you're a bourbon drinker. If you're a bourbon drinker, you don't want to dabble into rye. It's like, I don't know. Sagamore Double Oak Rye is where you need to be. So this is a 4 to 5 year old MGP rye, double oaked, finished in a toasted wave stave barrel. This one comes in at 96.6 proof. Compute, 48.3% alcohol by volume. So, you know, little light on proof, but not on flavor. So just, you know, how does it compare? It's double oaked. This is far more fruity. This is like a fruit cocktail in a glass. This is like toasted nuts, toasted almonds, fruits. There's like a s'mores, vanilla s'mores quality about this, like toasted graham cracker s'mores with fruit. Delicious smelling. Let's take a sip. Wow. You know, the thing is, it's not worse. Oh man, it's all vanilla s'mores and just fruit. It's sweeter, less char, less of that in-your-face double oakness. This is a toasted second barrel for the double oaking. So if you're not a fan of high proof, you're not a fan of just at the max level of woodiness and char and double oaking, then you're going to probably prefer the Sagamore. But back to the Peerless. Oh, God. We just love max level of the double oakiness here on this channel. And this brings it in spades. I got to go with the Peerless Double Oak. But it's not 10 times better, right? I like it better, but I'm not going to not stock this. I'm always going to have a bottle of this on the shelf. So take that for what it's worth. Not worse, but they are very different. Again, the Peerless is max oak, max char, right, for double oaking. Just a punch you in the face kind of flavor palette. The Sagamore here is a little lighter on the palate, kind of fruity, popping, you know. Like Hawaii, it's like a Hawaiian shirt with a little bit of chest hair out. And then it's got, you know, it's just got that, you know, little s'mores, campfire s'mores thing going on. Easier drinking and won't get you as hammered as quickly. Those are just two things there. Now, that kind of concludes just the double oakiness of the night. Except, shout out to Brantley. He gave me a sample of that single barrel double oak rye from Peerless that he gave me in the advent calendar that I just freaking loved. We're going to pour that in this mini here and figure out if it's better or worse than the batch version. Oh, man. Color identical. So this is the single barrel here in the mini. A little more graham cracker on this one perhaps, and just a touch lighter on the fruit. So less deep dark cherry and a little bit lighter on the fruit on the single barrel here. Let's take a sip. Just, oh so good. The single barrel rye actually dials back the rye spice a little bit. Adds a dimension of like stone fruit there at the end. And is less in your face in the char and kind of the cinnamon characteristics. Here's just the batch version. Oh man. I actually prefer the batch version, the new one. I don't know if it's just because, oh. Okay, well, very close, very close. If you have a single barrel double oak rye and you're like, man, I wish I could get another one, you're not going to be disappointed by the batch version there if you find it. Go ahead and snag one up. Just when you thought we were done, Brantley did snag a Peerless Absinthe Barreled Rye. So this is kind of just for fun here. I've never had absinthe by itself, never heard of anything finished in absinthe. So we're just going to see, I mean, I say this for last in case it kind of ruins the palate. Alright, poured it here in the blue. So Peerless Absinthe Rye. Don't know what to expect. Price on this bad boy is probably expensive. Okay, probably pretty expensive. in the 150 or more range, I'm sure, or 140s or something like that. This smells like straight black licorice, which I hate. But with like a cotton candy note, I don't know, it smells like a sweet black licorice. It's funny that I'm not immediately turned off because black licorice is like straight poison. You should not be drinking it. Yeah, okay. Well, we're just getting straight black licorice from the nose here. With like a fruity cotton candy. That's what we're getting. Let's take a sip. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Oh, that's terrible. F. F rating. Do not buy that. Oh my God. Oh, I couldn't swallow that. I spit it back out. It tastes like straight black licorice. If black licorice is your candy of choice, pick up a Peerless Absinthe Barrel. If you despise black licorice, avoid it like the plague. If you like what you saw tonight, please like, comment, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button, everyone. Thanks. Have a good evening.